Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. And we went ahead in my previous video I talked about configuring the group policy. We went ahead to create a group policy for a particular OU, a particular group, which was the finance group. And what we did was we set the users in finance and also HR, which I had done previously but not in the previous video. We said they should not be able to access the command prompt, they should not be able to access the control panel. And if you watch my previous video, you would see that this policy rather was enforced on this user. They were unable to access the command prompt, they were unable to access the control panel. So right now I'm going to be still talking about the group policy. I'm going to be creating a password policy. Now you might have gotten this error code probably that says the password policy does not meet the administrator sets blah 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 blah. Please meet your administrator. You tried multiple password, it doesn't go. So, or even if you've not seen that, you just want a password policy, you want that after 3 months or after the specific time, I want users to change their password, I want them to get like a notification, or I just want them to change their password and all that. I'm going to be showing you how to do that in this video. Let's go. So to come to tools here, remember we are going to group policy management. Alright, so I'll just click on this default domain management console. You see the default domain management console, you're going to see that it has its own policies. I'm just going to check for the password policy and see if it has a specific password policy. So Windows security accounts, then you're going to see password policy. So note that the default domain policy, it says, look at it, define this policy setting, keep password history for 24 passwords. Remember, this security setting determine the number of unique new passwords that have to be associated with the user account before an old password can be reused. The value must be between 0 and 24. This policy enables administrators to enhance security by ensuring that old passwords are not being used continually. You know that sometimes you put in that password and it says, maybe this password is remembered or something like that. So this is the setting that is usually used for that. By default, member computers follow the configuration of their domain controllers. To maintain the effectiveness of the password history, do not allow passwords to be changed immediately after they were just changed, by also enabling the minimum blah 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 blah. So now the default for this is 24. I'm just going to close this. Now the maximum password age is 42. Password will expire in 42 days. That means in 42 days the user has to reset their password. Now this security setting determines the period of time that a password can be used before the system requires the user to change it. You can set password to expire after a number of days between 1 and 999, or you can specify the password never expire by setting the number of days to 0. I would not recommend that because that's not security cautious. You have to allow your users change their password at least 3 months. At least 3 months, the password should be changed, right? It's the security best practice to have password expire every 30 to 90 days, depending on your environment. This way, an attacker has a limited amount of time in which to crack a user's password and have access to your network resource. Now, this is the default, which is 42 days. Okay, so let's check this. Minimum password age. Password can be changed after 1 day. That means today I might change my password and tomorrow I might change my password. I think this is still fair because I might come today and feel like, the password I used yesterday, I really don't like it. I feel like people would crack that easily. So let me just change it again. Right. Now this security settings determines the period of time that a password must be used before the user can change it. You can set a value between 1 and 998, or you can allow changes immediately by setting the number of days to 0. Alright, you can go ahead and read this. Minimum password length 7 characters. Usually 8 characters for a standard, I think. Now the security setting determines the least number of characters. Blah blah blah. Member computers. Alright, So if you see the minimum password length audit, security setting determine the minimum password length for which password length audit warning events are issued. This setting may be configured from 1 to 128. You should only enable and configure this setting when trying to determine the potential impact of increasing the minimum password length in your environment. So this is just to audit the password length that you set. Now, must password meet complexity requirement? Did I say yes or no? Relax minimum password length limit not defined. Now note that this is the default domain policy. This is the default domain policy. Now if I decide that I want to create a new password policy for myself, I'm just going for the domain. I'm not going to click on my domain. I'll just click on it. I'll create a GPO, and let's say password configuration, and I'll click on OK. Now I try here, so I'm going to right click on it, close this first, right click on this, I'll click on edit. I'm going to come to policies, I'm going to come to Windows settings, I come to security settings, come to account policy, password. Now you can see that everything is not defined, right? So I'm going to see enforce password history. Probably I don't want to enforce password history. I'll just say do not keep password history, 0 password remembered. I'll just apply that like 0. Okay, minimum password age. Now this determines the period of time that a password can be used before the system requires the password to change. So I just want this to be 90 days. I'll just say 90. And I'll click on OK. Note that this will change for this minimum password age. Now minimum password age, which says the security setting determines the period of time that a password must be used before the user can change it. So I'll just change this to 0. The person can change it anytime. Now minimum password length. Now I said this should be like, you could do like 8, depending on what you want. So I'll just put 0 characters. This okay, let me just put 8 because 0 doesn't make it a good security control. So I'll just put 8. Minimum password length audit. Yeah, I'll just put 1 log audit event when new password are shorter than. Okay, let me just put 8. So new password should be 8. Password must meet complexity requirements. I could define this and say this is enabled. Now if I define this and say this is enabled, remember the error code I was telling you, user might run into that error code. So you could decide and say this should be disabled for users in your organization. Now I'm going to just leave the other 2 as not defined. Now since I've defined the policy for my new password policy, I'm going to come back to the group policy management. I'll click on my treasures.org, then I'll click on link an existing GPO and click on the password configuration, and I'll click on OK. So it's linked to my domain. Yeah. So I'll click on this one. I'm trying to disable this, but I don't want to delete this. Okay, so this is the only linked one. I guess I deleted that, or I could find it somewhere else here. Yeah, it's right here, default domain policy, but it's not linked to this anymore. Alright guys, so you can see all my group policy here. I have the password configuration, which is correctly linked, HR restriction, which is for the OU, finance restriction, which I did in my previous video, and the defaults, blah blah blah, and all that. So now that is how to create the password policy for every person in your organization. So guys, I hope you enjoy watching this video. I hope you like this video. I hope you found something useful in this video. Guys, please try and subscribe, turn on the post notification. Please share this with your friends, and please drop me a comment if you found this video useful. Thank you guys, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. If you're in the morning, if you're in the evening, good evening from here. Bye guys, I'll see you in my next video.